the love of God, the love of the people of God, the blessings of being in that love, and the assurance of what comes with that love. And so I appreciate so very much that you're in the house of the Lord this morning. We're going through this series on the book of Acts. We're really intentionally going through it almost at a snail's pace. We're talking about what the church ought to be. And by God's grace, we'll get back to that next Lord's Day, Lord willing. But you know, periodically, I stand and try my level best to speak to you, to motivate you to buy into our study sheets out in the hallways. Because we do want to be one of the most highly educated, highly edifying, and highly evangelistic churches in our area. And all of that is predicated on, remember now, it's in the hallways, the word in and the word out. And we very much want you to buy into the study sheets. Study them individually, personally, study them in a family context, husbands and wives, parents to children, brothers to brothers, sister to sisters, even in your extended family. And then you can use them evangelistically. You can use them to edify your brother and sister in Christ. There's different topics out there and more on the way. I want to put a plug in for the Kingdom Kids, and I don't make a habit of getting into announcements. I think that's not my assignment, is to preach the word, but I do want to be wise and sagacious and expedient enough to know when something needs to be mentioned. Our Kingdom Kids workers are putting in a lot of time, ample time, to rebrand our children's ministry. Not because we have been failing, stumbling and bumbling along, but because we are growing in the ways that we can do a better and bigger work among our children. And I look forward to the things that they're doing. I'm just excited about Kingdom Kids. Not only the kids in our church, but the kids that we want to reach out there. So be praying. Get on board. Fill out that survey. Come on, it's not too late. Get in the mindset of investing in the lives of people that used to be where you used to be where they are. Get into that mindset. God bless you for it. For such is, Jesus says, with a child sitting on his lap, the kingdom of heaven. Now I want to speak about right choices that will abundantly bless your life. Maybe you're not a parent, a single person, as a young person, of course, but you understand choices. Because you are inundated with a lot of talk in your ear and hopefully in your heart about choices, the choices that you ought to make, need to make, must make. Parents understand that, I don't know how to quantify that, but a great deal of their talk to their children from the hearing understanding age, I guess they're doing it at the Google and Gaga age as well, the way to what, 18, 19, or maybe longer, you're talking to them about right choices. Parents get it. So we ought to have some appreciation, some understanding why God is invested in teaching us and guiding us and leading us, motivating us to make right choices. And this is the topic that I want to speak on. It's one of the study sheets that's available in the hallways. I say that they will abundantly bless your life. Right choices are not only morally and ethically right, they are practically wise because they produce God-ordained outcomes that will bless. So I want to speak to that. Now, when you look at this slide before you, just think about it. Keep coming back to that because this is what determines the outcome of our life in time and eternity. And there's a lot of application to this truth. This is a truth that I apply in the sphere of singleness, of being married. It's a truth that I apply in the seasons of life. In the springtime, I'm learning this. Vital that I learn it in the springtime. In the summertime, I'm growing deeper into an understanding. The fall of life, I'm beginning to settle in and really understand that this is the truth. And then in the winter of life, in the legacy period, I'm really reflecting on how this has brought me where I am. You owe it to your children to sit down and share this with them. Make it simple, not too complicated, but help them to understand that life is those 3 Ds: decisions, directions, and destinies. That's the summation of life. That's what leads us, takes us, brings us. Decisions, directions, and this is how it works. Decisions give way to directions. Directions give way to destinies. And so when I'm looking at this, I'm helping my children. You're helping your children. Sometimes even your adult children. Sometimes they are even helping you, encouraging you on choices that you have to make to get those decisions right. That your direction may be right. That your destiny, not in academic language, but that's down-home language, will sure enough be right. So let's talk about it. Choose Christ. That's first and foremost. Choose Christ. You got to sit down with that person, that family member who's coming into the awareness cognitively to understand things, to read and take in knowledge. You're talking to that family member that doesn't yet understand this. You're talking to that person out there who God gives you an opportunity to speak to, and you help them to do what you know is first and foremost, to choose Christ. And it is a choice. You know, Jesus doesn't do a hostile takeover. He doesn't force himself on us. Never he does that. In fact, it says in this text, this is a faithful saying. The word is, this is worthy of your trust. Sometimes we say, don't put all of your eggs in the basket. He said, no, put all of your eggs on the basket of this truth. This is irrefutable, undefeatable, undeniable truth, and worthy of everybody to buy into. Everybody needs to accept this, that Jesus Christ, Christ Jesus, came into this world. Our middle school kids are going to be beginning a study on following Jesus to the gospel. That curriculum is being developed as we speak, just a sample given out to the workers. And it begins with the coming, they call it the advent of Jesus Christ into the world, to save sinners, of whom Paul says, I'm chief. I want you to think about these bullet points, these dashes. And we'll follow this format for just a few moments. We'll say the thing that you ought to choose. We'll give the verse that corroborates and confirms the wisdom of that choice. And we'll try to help you to buy into a full principles that affirm it. So here it is. Be wise enough. Think about it now. Wisdom is not synonymous with knowledge. A person can have knowledge and not be wise, but you cannot be wise without knowledge, right? And it's not necessarily the abundance of knowledge that gives you wisdom, but wisdom involves an abundance of knowledge. But it's your understanding and your value system on what you know that gives you wisdom. It's the application of what you know. So here it is, that you got to be wise enough to know, humble enough to know. Proud people don't choose Christ. We'll say a word about pride today. People who are given over to conceit don't find Christ somebody they want to hang out with, because he brings them into submission and surrender, and that's not what they're looking for. But you got to be thoughtful enough. You got to put some thinking into this. You got to sit down and think about it and be determined enough. Determination can't be overlooked, because Christ is in your life for the whole of your life. And that's going to take some stamina, some staying power to start and keep a relationship with Jesus Christ. I don't know who I'm speaking to, but I want you to understand this. No relationship is worth putting over Christ. No. Nobody is that pretty, that handsome, that wealthy, that well connected. I know the devil doesn't want us to hear this, that they ought to take the place that only Christ can occupy in your life. Nobody. And nobody is, listen, worth leaving for Christ. And nobody anywhere can offer you a relationship that's better than Christ. You know, sometimes, I guess I can't make that illustration, because I don't think it would be received in a situation. I wish I could. But choose Christ. You will discover that everyone has the potential now to abandon you, forsake you, and leave you, but Christ says, that's not me. Lo, I'm with you always, even into the end of the world. I'm going to stick by your side. Jesus Christ. I've discovered that it's not the lack of love or the lack of sharing and caring, but people can only take you so far. Just the nature of it. You get tired, right? People get heavy. Carrying folks get heavy every once in a while. But Jesus Christ says, I'll carry you. I'll bear with you. Now, when you choose Christ, first and foremost, it's a good lesson for you to teach that child, that teenager, that young person, that coworker. You choose grace. You choose grace. But he gives more grace. Megas, that's the word. More grace. Grace not only in the way you can count it up by the amount, that too, but it's the magnitude, the depth of grace that he gives. Grace that covers every situation, every struggle, every strain that you're going through, every sorrow, that type of grace. Therefore, he says, but let me give you a warning now, that God stands opposed to the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Now let me teach you something here. Choose grace. I was sharing with my sister here. We was talking on the other week, and we were talking about grace, and we were speaking about an amazing thing that Paul wrote to the Galatians, that they were falling from grace. They would rather choose law that would make them guilty than grace that would free them for forgiveness. Because wait a minute, they had spent all of their lives on law. It became a badge of honor just to know that they were the people of the law, right? The pedigree of God was based on the folks who were in the law and under the law. So they hung their hat on being not like the Gentiles who were without the law, but the Jewish covenant that was all about the law. So even though they had failed and plundered, and many of them failed miserably, when grace came, they said, no, give us law. That's crazy stuff. That's messed up, whacked up, jacked up. That just will not work. But wait a minute, hold on. Let's speak to us. Don't fall into the dangerous and defeat producing. I'm speaking words to clarify. It's dangerous and defeat producing mindset that I have to earn and keep paying for my right standing with God. I tell you something, it's somewhere in your mind that your worship is paying for something. Somewhere in your mind, your deeds are paying for something. Somewhere, it's there. Somewhere in your mind, what you give to God is paying for something. No, God says this is priceless. The pearl of great price. You will never have what it takes to pay the price. Innocence, guiltlessness. So he says, be comfortable with grace. Sometimes when we really teach grace, we can fall into the trap that Paul says, shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? And so, grace means that's my ticket to do some stuff. No. For the grace of God that bringeth salvation has appeared unto all men, teaching us to deny ungodliness and live soberly, righteously, and godly in this world. No, grace wakes me up to not what I have to earn, but what I have to appreciate. And there is a depth of appreciation that will keep you right. You can love a person so much. You can value a person so much. You can be so thankful for a person that you respond to them positively. And God said, that's what I need you to do. But wait a minute, hold on here. Hold on here. So every once in a while, I want you to sit down, sit down, sit down. I mean, literally sit down. Literally sit down. Look up, I'm talking to me, and continuously declare to God. Sit down now. Take a day, take a minute. I mean, just a day out of that week and a minute, and just literally sit down, your sofa, your couch, your bed, your rocker, your lamp, whatever, and look up and listen. Just let the words come out. Continuously declare to God your gratitude for not giving you what you deserve, but deciding to give you what you don't deserve. Just sitting down. Just sit down and just meditate on it. Choose grace. Choose faith. Oh, we're speaking. We're speaking the truth here. We are saved by grace through faith. Jesus says, if you have faith as a mustard seed, I don't know how many sermons you heard on the mustard seed. It's a really profound lesson. You will say to this mountain, move from here, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible. Now, this is interesting because there are a lot of miracles in the Bible, but you never see a miracle of a mountain move. Was it because nobody had that kind of faith? I don't know if he's talking about that in its literal application. Mountains are that monumental, bigger than you, larger than life thing that is hindering and hurting that you need out of your way. That mountain. You can speak to it, Jesus says, with faith. Now, where's the point? Be ready and willing at any time. This is a good lesson for somebody to learn anytime, all the time, throughout time, to step out beyond your situation and maintain faith. And along with that, know this for sure, that faith, I've taught this many times in counseling and coaching. To teach it to myself. This is my definition of faith. I know what the Bible says, faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word of God. You can't beat that. But I think it's based on this. Faith, for sure, is knowing that this is your opportunity, this is faith, to test what you know about God's promises and God's power in this moment. That's what faith is. Faith is how much knowledge of God's promises and power are you going to bring in whatever you're facing. The doctor's diagnosis, the layoff, the loneliness, the depression, the despair, the sickness. How much promise and power are you going to bring into that situation? That's faith. That's where faith comes by knowing God's power and promises in that moment. Choose fear. Choose fear. These are big ticket items. Proverbs says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Now, this word, yirah, in the Hebrew, fear, ranges from terror to deep respect. It's a broad-reaching word, and I need both of those. Paul says, knowing the terror of the Lord, we persuade men. I need to have a fear of God. I do need to fear God. I need to have a kind of fear, not phobia, but a fear of what God can do, that he's not a God to be played with. But I also need to have a reverent respect, a worship of God, looking up in awe, say, you're amazing, God. See, here it is. And it's the beginning of knowledge. That means that and sometimes we don't teach it and we don't get it. If we don't teach it, we won't get it. That you've got to teach new believers, and you got to build on the foundation that everything that you're going to know about God is going to bring you to fear God. Fear him. That's where it really begins. Fear him. So here it is. Allow the fear of God to chart your course. That's the direction thing. I fear God, so I'm walking a certain way. I'm moving in a certain direction because I fear God. Hear me now. To establish your boundaries. Boundaries mean that you can't go beyond it. It's amazing how children are, and we've been children, when you tell children that this is the boundaries in which you can play, back in the day, when parents used to tell children about that, back in the day, and you say you can't go any further than that. It's amazing how they're here, but you go out 30 minutes later, they're up against the boundary. We have to push the envelope. And maybe when I was a kid, I done crossed the boundary. I don't know, I got whacked out crazy. Mother said, come in the house, Van. But boundaries means that, listen, get this now. They will keep you from doing what you know that God doesn't like. That's a boundary, my brother. God doesn't like that. If God don't like it, I don't like it. If God ain't in it, I'm out of it. So make the fear of God keep you in a state of surrender, obedience, and a focused determination to declare the things that you cannot do. Can I get you to buy into that? Make the fear of God, make it work for you this way, to keep you in a state of surrender, obedience, and a focused determination, here it is, to declare the things that you cannot do and will not do. Now, I wanted to speak about truth and trust and endurance, but I want to stop right there. It's in the study sheet. I want you to get it. I want you to study it. I want you to embrace it. I want you to really use this study sheet and let God grow in you the right choices that will abundantly bless your life. Let's stand together as our brother offers us this invitational song.